ring the bells that still may ring. Forget our perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. And that's where the light gets in. My problem, my qualm with life is that everything is possible. My qualm with life is everything is possible. Or at its core, it is. Any path you want to take, anything you want to do, you can do it with no food in my plate. Ideally, if I were to be passionate about something enough to do it, to pursue it regardless, I will find some sort of way to do it. Eventually, offense intended. In a world where emotions are seen as a weakness, where people are always people, even in the future, I can't help but let a little bit of optimism sneak into my thoughts, into my ideas of what this all means. And this is why thought precisely ails me. The powers, the myths, the mysticism, the whole idea is very nonchalant to me, because I have realized, in a way, I think to challenge myself, to disagree with us, with myself. And as Veronica Roth says, I learn more about the world by bullying myself into it. We talk about Google listening into us, about all these cameras, about putting little pieces of tapes over our laptop cams, and in the end keep on using these apps, social media platforms, give all our information back to them in a silver platter. This hypocrisy mixed into with reality is what fascinates me. What do we do all of this for? Why do we do all of this? To please others, families, ourselves? And who do we do this for in general? As Homo sapiens, we are creatures of habit. We're creatures that need comfort. And we need a healthy dose of pessimism and optimism, be it through rationality, through introspection, through our friends, through our families, or through the outside world, just living in. When a society usually faces any major dangers to its values or to survival, it has a few ways of dealing with it. That's when dystopias gain appeal. That's a eluded form, a larger form of the being. And when catastrophic conflicts and tragedies that have passed through us and they flush out, this is when you get fresh, optimistic concepts, the new futures, the alternates for societies to change. That's when utopias become even more popular. It's easy for us to believe in something when so much of our own truth is out of our grasp. There is so much unknown. Unknown in space, yes, but in our own worlds, in our own minds, in the space we inhabit, in the deep, deep sea. And our mind is often related, or in a metaphor, always said to subsume a universe, to be an ocean in its own regard. There's simply so much inside the deep sea that creatures like the colossal squid or the giant squid and the megalodons and sharks that we have got to know the existence of in 1977 have been existent under our nose all this time. There's simply so much deep sea that these colossal creatures are hidden in the sheer nothingness that dwarfs them, in this unknown, in this deep sea, in this water. And the whole paradoxical concept comes from deep sea, about gigantism, where the more scarce the food is, the shortage more severe, the larger the creatures become. Almost like our run-of-the-mill capitalism, where the richer keep getting richer, be it through pandemics, famines, through wars. And that's why we're at a time where dystopia has reached a fever pitch in pop culture and in turn in our lives. And I've thought it was that made sense. What makes these thoughts so easy to impermeate? Not just through the zeitgeist, but through our own heads, into our own minds. And if we know this, why don't we do anything to stop it? And can we? The only certainty that I've come to after all these thought exercises is that everything starts and ends in nature. We will be there, and that's our only certainty. And in such a poetic way, this is how life imitates art. All this change, all this need to be the founder, the achiever glut in the post Y2K era, where we collectively try to solve a problem that runs in the chains of economics and power. For now, this need, and then the fear of capitalism that has gone to a brink. This is what is running climate change, global warming, the floods all over India right now. The shifts and irrefutable changes that we see in our own homes, our own minds, our own houses, our own spaces. And why are we still one-upping each other? Fighting for that same piece of cake? And why hasn't the pie increased in size when we need such movement, such young people, such changes, such organizations to come forward to solve this? When we're in a room, psychologically, one of the techniques that makes more sense in spaces like this is to hold space. Something that a couple of my friends call racing to the bottom, to be the embodiment of comfort, to hold that space for someone. Anyone, could be a stranger, could be somebody you would never meet again. And that's what, again, makes sense to me in such dystopias, that there are outliers always. In any scientific theory, in any hypothesis, in any heart of the matter truth, there are outliers always. And as Leonard Crosby says, until we have a goal-oriented movement to stop global warming, resource exhaustion, and the continued human population growth, we won't see any utopias in popular culture. But real-world dystopias don't allow dystopias. And that's probably a utopia. Dystopians do not create metaphors. They don't create art. Because essentially, it has lost its meaning, its purpose. And then if we keep talking about this, we probably aren't living in one. Just like humans, the moment you stop thought, the moment you stop thinking, your ergo sum ends. Or maybe another way would be, if you do see yourself existing, if you do see things, people, places existing all around you, and you realize that yes, this moment has arrived, it has arrived. What do you do about it? What exactly is it about? Because being is a different issue altogether. What is your being? Is doing your being? Is creating your being? Or maybe to simply exist as your being? Simply existing is a lot of people's being, as it turns out. Me personally, I would like to be in nature. Because in a lot of cuss words coming in, and a lot of energy. Because in an odd sense, which we never relate to, we are nature. You, me, us, part of it, inside it, within it. We strive to keep discovering, keep getting to know the nuances of what we know already, know more, discovering, researching, innovating, making zeal for the unknown, whether it be our minds, the space of the deep, deep sea again. There's a need. There's a need to always fact check, to know more, to get the grain of truth in everything, because we know that things are murky. This is why the dark keeps us at night, awake, where not knowing is uneasy, where prophesizing authors in a very science fiction way in their fiction write the reality that we're yet to discover. Moby Dick, Back to the Future, Hard Times, Simpsons, Monster of the Deep Sea. The abyss does a stare back, and in our own ways, time and time again, we peer into it. It's like when you're in the wild, anywhere outside, when you do feel that giant organism that makes all of us breathe, you are inside it. You have to be very aware, because if you lose sight of it, you might be its next victim of the words, of yourself, of your own thoughts, of this being. The breed of the grasshopper shrills, what does the future matter, as we all shall be dead. Our grasshoppers, that's fierce blood work. But to die is to having made something more equal to centuries. The muscle, the bone, and mostly to shed weakness. Because the mountains are dead stone. The people admire or hate their stature, their insolent quietness. The mountains are not softened or troubled, and a few dead men's thoughts are of the same temper. Thank you.